Okay, welcome back to Canadian Tax Secrets. I'm your host, Rylan Olson, and today we're going to be talking about the FEA designation and life insurance and insurance advisors. So, hope you're excited for this episode. So, let's dive right in. Now, the first logical question is to ask, what is the FEA designation? If you've never heard of the FEA designation, FEA stands for Family Enterprise Advisors. Now, this is a designation that created for those people that are helping family enterprises or businesses that transition from generation to generation to navigate the complexities that come from having a family with wealth and needing to be custodians of wealth that are passed down from generation to generation. So when you think of families that are custodians of wealth, you might think of, some famous families in the United States, maybe the Rockefellers, maybe the Carnegies, maybe the Kennedys or another family. There's lots of really famous families that you've probably heard of. In Canada, you might think of maybe the Rogers family or the Shaw family or the Jim Pattison family, and these families that are passing wealth from generation to generation. And they've created these businesses or enterprises that live on. This designation, the Family Enterprise Advisor, is really to help advisors in all different spheres. So you have lawyers, accountants, bankers that take this designation, insurance advisors, better understand what these families are facing, the problems that they're having, and how to navigate and help these families get through these problems or issues and solve them so that they can continue on. I heard an interesting statistic once that said family businesses, roughly 80% of them don't make it past the third generation. So the whole goal of an FEA is really to help these families transition their wealth, mitigate risk, overcome family conflict through the generations, creating charters and plans and rules and boards and chairs to make sure that this wealth that is being created or these businesses that are being created transition in a successful manner. You're probably thinking, well, you guys talk a lot about tax, you talk a lot about insurance, as that's what this podcast is about, is insurance. So why are you guys dealing with this? Well, here's the answer. We've been running into more and more of these families as we've been doing higher end insurance work. Insurance, as you probably know, life insurance in particular, is used by a lot of affluent families throughout Canada as a wealth transferring tool. So as we've been bumping into these families and running into more advisors that are playing more of an advisory role to these families, we've really been thinking that, this is something that we need to get into. We need to start understanding better so we can speak the language, so that we can collaborate together with these advisory teams that are helping these families, because insurance plays a huge role in transitioning wealth and business succession. Now, we've probably talked before some of the benefits, as you probably remember from previous episodes, about life insurance and, the importance of it, because some people say, well, rich people, they don't need life insurance. They've got all the money in the world. No, we're not talking about creating wealth. These families have already created wealth. We're talking about transferring wealth. And there is, dare I say, no better tool in transferring wealth from one generation to another than life insurance. So our role as life insurance professionals is obviously to help that first generation transition the wealth into the next generations, or transition that business to the next ownership group. But it's also our role to help the next generation or the next set of business owners receive that money. So these second generation people or third generation or, generation down the line, obviously you're going to need some coaching. They're going to need some understanding, because these are large sums of money that are coming their way. And if the FEA advisors and the advisory team have done their job, this family is prepared and ready to receive that kind of wealth. It's important for us as insurance advisors to educate the second generation or the people that are receiving the money on what the family goals are, what they're trying to accomplish with the money. Maybe the generation one doesn't actually just want them to all go buy Ferraris and beach houses in Hawaii. They actually want the money to go towards, charities or continuing family legacy or keeping, assets in the family or growing the empire, right? So it's really our role as we get more into the FEA space, as we're dealing with insurance, to help plan with these families of, yes, we want to transfer money. We want to use the insurance proceeds or the insurance as a conduit to get money from generation 1 to generation 2. But at the same time, what are we going to do with those proceeds? Is there bank debt that needs to be paid back? Is there other, causes or charities that this money is going to go to? And what are the benefits of giving that money to a charity? Or what are the benefits of donating it somewhere else? Or how should we structure it? The reason we think the FEA designation is so important is there's a lot of complexity that comes around wealth and transferring wealth and life insurance. And a lot of people don't take that into account, or that's just an additional piece. But we believe that it's a pretty significant piece of a family's overall portfolio, wealth accumulation strategy, and wealth transferring strategy. So we're happy that we can get our name at the table. We can have our seat at the table. We can have conversations. We can speak the same language. We can be in the room with like-minded professionals. And then when our expertise is required for these families, we can come in and help them. And that family enterprise or that FEA designation is really just the icing on top of the cake for us to say, you know what, we understand this world, we understand these people, we understand how to work together with the other professionals. So what's the impact it's going to have? I think it's going to be huge. I guess our focus here at Swell, and this is Canadian Tax Secrets podcast, but our focus is really focusing now on those family enterprise families, business owners who are in the startup, the growth, the mature phase, or professionals, because we've found that those people have the most complexity and they need the most help in planning with their life insurance. So there's a lot of cool tax planning strategies that we can do using life insurance. But most of these people that are taking advantage of these strategies are the affluent individuals. And we've just been running into more of these enterprises, more businesses that are mature or growing or in the startup with high valuations, or professionals that are retired or just about to retire or mature. But so that's how it's going to impact us, because we're going to be doing a lot of work. We're pretty excited. Now, I think the main takeaway for this episode, I guess, isn't as much tax focused as it is collaboration focused. We've been preaching and have preached in the past lots of times, collaboration is key. In order to get the best outcome from a tax perspective, all professionals, including the client, need to be rowing the boat in the same direction. We cannot collaborate with other professionals if they're not willing to collaborate with us. We cannot collaborate if a client will not allow us to chat with their other professional. So if you're the listener and you're a client, smarten up. No, I'm just kidding. If you're the listener and you are, someone that has their own professional team, how effective are your professionals collaborating? How effective are you collaborating? How clear are you presenting what your goals are to that professional team? And how clear is the goals, or how consistent is the goals across all professionals? Is your insurance goal consistent with your accounting goal, consistent with your tax goal, consistent with your legal structure or your shareholder documents or your will? How clear and how consistent are they? Because if there's no collaboration, you might have, a tug of war going. You might have one side of the rope pulling one direction saying, tax, we need to focus on tax. You might have another side of the rope saying, no, philanthropy, giving. We want to be giving more. We want to be donating. You might have another one that says spending. The client might be saying, cabin. I want a cabin. I want a place in Hawaii. How consistent is everyone's goals? I'm not saying that there's one right goal or one wrong goal. But if there's anything that we've learned from, starting this FEA designation, I am just starting it this year in 2023. Steve completed his FEA designation in 2022. So if there's anything that we're learning, it's collaboration is key, but also identifying the goals and the outcomes that we're trying to accomplish. Tax is really important. And this is the Canadian Tax Secrets podcast, where we share different secrets and different less known tips about how you can save money on tax in Canada. But let's just get back to real basics here. If we're not collaborating, we're missing tiny opportunities. We don't have to get into intricate detail. there's little tweaks that we can make that just by collaborating, we can have a better approach. We can have a more consistent view. So collaboration's key, and identifying goals and making sure those goals are consistent across all platforms and all professionals is just an instant way that you can save money on tax. This is super exciting. We're very excited to be in the FEA space. I'm very excited to be taking the course this year. I'm hoping that I'll be able to hop on here and share some of the things that I'm learning, some of the things that are being discussed, and relay that to you in terms of how that applies to a tax perspective for Canadian entrepreneurs and families. So that'll be my goal, is relaying that information through this medium and putting it out to you guys in a way that you can see, I never thought of that, or that should be a consideration. So it's really exciting. I'm super excited to be here. I'm super happy that you're here listening to the Canadian Tax Secrets podcast. We thank you for your support. We thank you for tuning in. We are just excited about Canadian tax in general and being a resource to other Canadians who are looking to save money now on their taxes, save money later on their taxes, and then pass money into future generations in a tax efficient way. So thanks for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.